Okay. So yes, the course is totally on your own. You work through the material at your own pace. I have a suggested schedule you use, and you have to, meet certain deadlines and things like that. But there isn't like a daily class session or any sort of regular meeting time outside of the two tests that we're going to take together. But since the whole COVID thing's going on right now, that is also going to be happening remotely, the testing. Um, Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and run you through some of the course material that you need. So the course itself is going to be run primarily through Blackboard. Let me see here. So my screen should be being shared right now. There we go. And if you go to our Blackboard course, then here's what it looks like. I'm just going to run you through some of the material here. Here's what the syllabus is. And let me point out a few key things about the syllabus. You can read most of this yourself. A couple of key things. The textbook is a free textbook that's on Blackboard. I'll show you where that is. Generally speaking, we don't need calculators, but you're welcome to use like a basic calculator if you want to check your arithmetic and things like that. I think the most important thing that in this document is just to understand the workload that's associated with this course. So if I've tried to spell it out, in detail here, but the idea is, we're cramming a 3-credit course into approximately 5 weeks. And in a normal semester between class time and homework and all that kind of stuff, I've found that students spend maybe 100 or so hours over the course of a normal semester. And so we're trying to fit that into 5 weeks. And so that roughly adds up to, 20 hours a week worth of work that you can spread out however you want. But that is significant, right? That's at least a part-time job, if not more. Now, if you have a good background, maybe you need less time than that. Like if you can work through the material kind of quickly, then you may need less time. But if you need some help and you need to get extra help and work through things slowly, that's fine, but it may take longer than that. I just want to be very upfront that you need to be able to carve time out of your day each and every day to work on this course. I just want to be clear about that because in the past I've taught this course. This will be my 3rd summer teaching this course, and the few people who end up not passing the course honestly have too much on their plate, is what it seems, right? They're like working full time or more. They're taking care of their family. They're trying to go on vacation and do this course together, and that usually doesn't work out very well. And so if you're in that situation, you might want to rethink whether or not you have enough time. The homework itself is online. I'll show you that in a minute as well. Here's how the grade's going to be broken down. So the midterm will be worth 1/4 of the grade. The homework will be worth 1/4 of the grade. We'll have 3 weekly quizzes that'll be worth 10%, and then the final exam is 40%. We have a departmental policy that any online course that students have to pass the final in order to pass the class. So the idea here is you're working through the material mostly on your own. So I don't see your homework necessarily, like the work that is. And so the way I give you feedback on your work is through these quizzes. That's why I do these weekly quizzes, is because I want you to submit to me, show me that you know how to do the work, and you write out the work in detail, and I give you feedback on that work before the test happens. That's sort of the point of the quizzes. And then the tests, right, the midterm and the final, those are really where you show me that you know how to do this stuff. So obviously, like on quizzes and homework and things like that, you can use your notes. It's open notes, open book. You can use resources and things like that. But the point of those things is to get, the practice you need to be successful on the tests. And then the tests are going to be closed notes. Again, we'll take them remotely together. But that's where you show me you know how to do the stuff without your notes. So that's sort of the progression that I'm thinking about. And then your final grade will be submitted using this normal grading system. For the most part, like it says here, you're going to work through the material on your own. I'm generally available throughout the day, so I'm not going to hold regular sessions. But if you send me a message and say, "Can we meet sometime today?" I will make myself available to meet at most times. I'll meet in the evenings. I'll meet early in the morning. I'll meet in the afternoon, whenever it's convenient to you. And what I'm going to basically do is, if someone requests a meeting time, I'm going to alert the rest of the class that there's going to be a meeting. And then if anyone else wants to come to that meeting and ask questions or just listen to the questions, and they could do that as well. And I can always record sessions like I'm doing right now, and post them to my YouTube page for people to look at later if that would be helpful. So you know, I don't have like set office hours, because basically what I find is people have vastly different schedules. So if I just set office hours, I often end up missing half the class. And so I'm just going to be available like all throughout the day, and you can just message me and set up a time. I'm not doing a whole lot right now, right? I'm still social distancing, quarantining, all that. I've got house projects to work on, so I'm just going to be around my house, just ready and able to help you whenever. And I have a document camera that I'm able to do that with. So I'll show you that in a minute as well. Here are the general topics. Here's sort of the general progression of how you should think about the course each day. So each day you should sort of watch the next section, the next video that I've posted for the next section. You should take notes on that video using the notes that I've provided, and then you should work on some homework. That's sort of the progression every single day. Now, the homework is going to be twofold. You should A, work on new homework, but also B, work on the homework that's, finish the homework that's due. So maybe now's a good time to jump to the schedule. Most of this stuff is pretty straightforward in the syllabus. You're welcome to look at it at your own pace. Let me go to course documents here and show you what the schedule looks like. So you see here, daily course schedule. This gives you an idea of what you should be doing every day. Starting with today. So like, for example, today, section 1 is being assigned. You should watch the video for section 1 and take notes for section 1. And so the first column or the first row here sort of tells you what video you should watch. And the second row here tells us what homework is due on that given day. You can also see it tells us when the midterm is and the final exam. And it also mentions when quizzes are due. So quizzes are generally going to be due Sunday nights at midnight. And so it's a pretty busy course. And so the sections correspond to these section numbers. And then the videos are on my YouTube page, which you can access right here. And there's also a link on Blackboard. Let me just show you what this looks like. When you go here, though, there are all these different videos of me filling out course notes. So, for example, this is section 1. This is the, let me stop listening to myself. This is the section that's you're supposed to watch for today. And it's a video of me filling out course notes literally in my normal class. And so I created these videos during a normal class. And so it should have sort of a normal feel in that people will be asking questions. I'll be answering questions. There'll be parts in the video where I say, okay, try these next couple problems on your own, and you should do that. And then I'll go through them. And so, if you take this seriously, you can pretty much just treat it like a normal class, like a face-to-face kind of class, because that's literally what I'm doing in these videos. Now you can see I'm filling out some notes in these videos, and those notes are also on the Blackboard page. So here's the blank version of the notes. Okay, you can see it's about 60 pages. Here's the first page, and you can see that first page is the page that I'm filling out in this video, right? And so you would want to basically print these blank notes out as you watch the video. You can fill them out and work through the problems. That's the best way to approach this class. If you really need to learn this material, I strongly recommend you print the blank notes and you fill them out just like a normal class with the videos. Sometimes I find that people end up in this class who it's really just like review, and they don't really need the course. They don't need me to tell them how to do this kind of stuff. They just need to like work through the material themselves. If you're in that boat, what you could also do is print out the completed version. So you can see on Blackboard here, it says completed class notes. These are the exact same notes I just showed you, but they've already been completed, right? So this page, for example, is the page right here that I've already completed. It's actually, yeah, that is that same page, right? And so if, some people who are a little more advanced, who don't need to fill out the notes, don't want to spend as much time, and don't need to be taught the material, it's more review, might consider printing out the completed versions, seeing what they know and what they don't know, and then taking it from there. For example, maybe the first couple pages is pure review and you don't need to watch the video on this page, but maybe this page you do need to watch the video on because it doesn't look like review. And then you can sort of piece together what you need. Basically what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to provide lots of options to approach the course, and you should do what's best for you. For most people, it's going to be printing the blank version of the notes, which is this version, and completing them with the video in order to be successful in the course. Okay. Please stop me at any time, by the way, if you have any questions. You're welcome to use the chat, or you can unmute yourself or whatever and ask a question. Any questions so far? Let me just pause for a second.
No, the only questions that I actually did have was about the final, but you answered it already, because I thought it was originally going to be like at Fitchburg or at an actual place, but
yeah, so normally, and I actually just realized as I was paging through this, if I got to change this in the actual syllabus, normally the exams happen on campus, you can see right here. But this first summer session has already been declared fully online, and so we're not going to be in face-to-face. I'm just going to do these tests like I did it during last semester, which is on test day, we're all going to take the test at the same time. Like we'll set a test time, whatever works for everyone, and we'll all meet together virtually, like in a Google Meet situation like this, for example. And then I'll email the test out and everyone, and I'll basically monitor you via your webcam while you take the test. That's how the tests are generally going to work. And then you'll scan it with either your phone, or if you have a scanner, that'd be great. But there's really nice scanning apps now that you can use your camera with. And then you'll submit them via online. So everything will be remote. We won't actually be meeting this session. I'm going to keep going. Feel free to interrupt if you have any other questions. The textbook is right here. I mentioned before, it's free. I don't use it a whole lot. Like, I don't reference it in my notes, and I don't reference it in the videos or anything. I think the best use for the textbook is it's nice. It has nice material. So if you want another version of something being explained, you can find it here. But the other nice thing is, the thing that I would suggest everyone use it for, let me see if I can find it real quick, is there's nice practice problems in here. So every time there's like a homework section, like this, for example, right here, a bunch of homework questions. Right after the homework questions are the answers. And so when it comes close to test time, what I usually do is I post practice problems, but I also post suggested problems out of the textbook because the answers are there. And so it's, I view the text as just like an additional source of practice problems and explanations, but it's not something that's vital to have. You don't need to like print it out or buy a hard copy necessarily, unless you really want, but it is available on Blackboard right here. Here's another link to the video lectures. This is the right link, actually. I can't remember if I edited this one yet. Yeah, there's the right link. Okay. And then I think there's a third link right here, even the YouTube playlist on the left side of the page. That will also take you to the same YouTube playlist. Just want to be sure I changed that. Great. Here's some information about me in case you want to get in touch. This is my cell phone, honestly. If you want to text me sometime, I guess that'd be okay. Especially if you want to set up a meeting. Obviously, I'd prefer email, but that's not the end of the world if you want to get a quick answer. If you want to learn more about me, you're welcome to check out my website. That's what I look like with hair. I got my quarantine shave going right now. Let's see. Online homework's the next thing we should talk about. Okay, so online homework, you can see, in the schedule, wherever the schedule went. Did I close the schedule? Maybe I closed the schedule. In the schedule, you can see it tells us when homework is due, right? So homework is due on these dates. And how do you access homework? You access homework using this WebWork link right here. So when you click right here, it'll take you to this link. And this link is our homework page. So it's online. Most of the due dates are already put up. I've still got to finish squaring this away, but the first 3 or so weeks are all set up. You can see the first orientation set is due tomorrow night. And then it follows the schedule, right? And so sometimes there's more than one set due. For example, you can see on the 29th, there's 3 sets actually that are due. Just because this one section, I happen to break up into 3 different categories, sort of. And so just be aware, it's not like 1 per night. Sometimes there's 2 or 3. They all have different numbers of problems. Sometimes there's only 4 or 5. Sometimes there might be 15 or 20. It really depends on the topic. When you go in to start working on them. You know, it's got the list of problems. This is one of the longer homework sets. So this is the exponent set. This is maybe the longest one. You can see that you have unlimited chances to get it correct. And so I'll remind you again, the point of the homework is not to like torture you or like, I don't know what people think homework is for sometimes, but the point of it is just to practice the material so you can get good at it. Like that's the whole idea, right? And so you can try it as many times as you want until you get it right. Now, some questions you might be able to just like guess until you get it right. That's not helpful for you. It might like very slightly improve your homework grade, but when it becomes a test time, if I ask you a question like that, you're gonna be, you're gonna be in trouble. So the whole point of this is to get good at the material, which means you should be writing down your answers as you go, excuse me, so that you can study from it when it becomes test time, and so you can go back and look at it and see what went right and what went wrong. When you go into a problem, it might look something like this. You obviously enter your answer in the box. And when you enter something in here, like let's say you thought the answer was v raised to the power of 1/2. When you submit the answer, notice what happened here. You thought the exponent was 1/2, but here's what it thought you entered, right? So this answer preview column is what the computer thinks you entered. And notice that the 2 is in the denominator of the v. So this is helpful because it made me realize, oh, I needed a parenthesis around that in order to get the whole thing into the exponent. See how now the entire 1/2 is in the exponent right here? And so that answer preview button or that answer preview column is helpful because one of the most challenging things with online homework is figuring out how to enter it, right? And so this is a very helpful thing to say, is it interpreting what I entered the correct way? The other very helpful thing on this page is the email instructor button. If you're having problems with a question, I strongly suggest you use the email instructor button. In fact, I require it. If you ask me a homework question that doesn't use this button, I'm going to ask you probably to go use the button. So you click the button, you write me a message. Can you help explain why this blah, 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 blah. You ask some question there. And when you hit send email, it sends me a message and it links me directly to your question. That's why this is such an important button, because if you just ask me some random question, it might take me 10 minutes to figure out what question you're even talking about. And so if you just do this, I can help you quicker and more effectively. I'm also able to see, what you entered, all your past answers and things like that. And so that usually helps me figure out what you're thinking and most effectively help you. Okay. I'm going to pause for a second to see if there are other questions before I keep going. I'm almost done here, but I do want to just keep going with the rundown. Okay, the other couple things you should be aware of are how our quizzes and how you submit the quiz. So as I mentioned, quizzes are due every Sunday night. So the idea is like you work through some material during the week, and then over the weekend, by Sunday night, you show me that you've learned something from that material, and I give you some feedback on your written work. The quizzes will be posted right here under the quiz tab. You can see the first one's already posted. You can see it's going to be due Sunday night. And when you click on it, it opens up the PDF where the quiz is. You should print this out if at all possible and fill it out and then scan it up and submit it. You will submit it like it says right here. After you finish, scan and submit them to the Gradescope website. Everyone should have received an email from me yesterday. I think I sent 2 of them, telling you had been signed up for a Gradescope class. What Gradescope is it's a homework collection system that helps me grade the homework. So Blackboard, it turns out, is really, really bad at handling math homework. Like when you submit math homework on Blackboard, it is really challenging to grade. But Gradescope is very nice. I'll just leave it at that. I don't need to bore you with the details, but I'd like you to submit things to Gradescope. If you email it to me or you have problems with Gradescope, let me know and I'll help you work that out. But all the grading is going to happen through Gradescope. I'll submit your corrections through there. You'll be able to view solutions and things like that through Gradescope. So most things are on Blackboard, but Gradescope is the one sort of different place where you'll submit quizzes, and also tests will go through Gradescope as well. The last thing I wanted to mention is this this Google Meet link, so this current meeting that I'm in right now, I'm going to use this same URL throughout the entire course. And so anytime we have a meeting, any office hours, any extra help sessions, anything like that is going to go through this link. And this link you can access right here via the Google Meet link. So if I click that, it just opens up this session, right? So you can see it'll say there's some people in here, blah, blah, blah. There I am. This is the session that we're in right now. Okay. I think that's all I wanted to say. Let me look at my list here. The other thing I guess I'll mention is YouTube, the YouTube playlist, which is right here. As I mentioned before, anytime we have sessions, I may post them here. For example, this session that I'm recording right now, I will post into this playlist. It'll probably be right at the top of this playlist after I post it. And so any sort of additional videos that are created throughout the summer, again, via these help sessions type things, I will post into this playlist as well. I think that's all I wanted to say. Can I answer any questions? I know there's only a couple of people in this particular session right now. Can I answer some questions for anyone in this session?
No. Yeah, like I said, pretty much all my questions are answered. That was very thorough, and if need be, I'll just watch this recording back.
Okay, great. I appreciate that. Yeah, and anyone who's watching this video, if you have some questions, feel free to email or text me or whatever you want. I'm happy to answer them. So you should try to get started on the material today if at all possible. The one thing I forgot to mention is the way that the general schedule works. Let me just show you that real quick if I can find it. Is section 1 is assigned today and then it's due 2 days later. That's the way that it works every single time. So the idea is like you should watch section 1 today and start the homework, and then you have 2 days to figure out the homework and ask me questions about it, basically. Another sort of pitfall that people oftentimes get sucked into is people won't do anything today, and then they'll just do the orientation homework tomorrow. And then on Thursday, they'll try to watch the video and do section 1 in the same day. And then when you run into questions, you're like frantically trying to answer the questions on the same day. Don't fall behind, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Watch section 1 today, start working on the homework, right? Watch section 2 tomorrow, start working on that homework. Now, tomorrow, you'll have section 2 homework and section 1 homework, right? So it's going to kind of snowball a little bit, which is why you want to try to get ahead as much as you can and stay on task. If you wait until like Thursday before you start anything, you're going to be in trouble. Just to be perfectly frank, you really got to stay on this stuff and be self-motivated and work on it every single day. I'm here to help, but you've got to sort of motivate yourself. And I'm sure anyone who took courses over the last semester who are online know how challenging that can be. It can be very, very challenging to self-motivate. So please do your best to try to do that. Okay, I think that's all I've got to say. Like I said, I'm gonna post this video to that YouTube playlist. Let me know if anyone has any questions.